This is Hard to Swallow with Rosa and Rhea. I'm Rosa.
And I'm Rhea.
And today we are talking about the mom experience. We're talking about valuing yourself, how things change when you become a mom, and everything, all the interesting questions that come along with that as well that I'm dying to know. And obviously, I'm not a mom. Rhea, you're not a mom. So we have a very special guest. We have a mom. We brought her in. A real live mom in the studio today. Katrina Lazzarotto. Is that how you say it?
That's actually really good. Yeah.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast.
You. I watch and listen to so many podcasts, and you guys are at the forefront. To be here in person with you guys is just really exciting. So thanks for inviting me.
Wow, and thanks for coming over. We're thrilled that you're here. And we actually recently did a webinar with you, which was fantastic. Is that what we're calling it? Webinar?
Webinar.
I like saying workshop.
Yes, and that was
Still
awesome.
trying to figure out the lingo. Yeah, that was amazing, you guys. We talked about sex, not even that much sex, but that was what a lot of the moms were interested in and got them asking questions. And then we really dove into love languages, which was just, everyone was blown away by how much they learned.
Totally. That's so
Super
great.
Informational.
Yeah, so Kat is the founder of the Mom Club, and she is bringing moms together and to support each other, and she brings experts on to do workshops, and we happen to be experts, so we were really happy to do that workshop, the sex workshop. So maybe tell us a little bit. Oh, first we want to know your star sign.
My star sign.
Your astrology sign.
So I'm an Aquarius.
We also want to know what your love language is. What love language do you like to receive?
After the workshop, I went and did the quiz again because there's a love language quiz that I only found out because one of the moms in my mom club didn't know what the love languages was. And I felt like I should have probably set them up a little bit better, but thankfully they're smart ladies. They took it in their own hands. I did the quiz. I actually did the quiz with Danny, who does not believe in these kind of like love language quizzes or like who you are, what your values are. So it was really like pushing shit uphill for the first 15 minutes of this 58 question quiz.
Oh, wow. That is not a quiz.
It's extensive.
That is an exam.
It's an exam. But like by the end of it, just by doing that together, you start seeing, this is me. So based on that quiz, my first love language is, I have to remember the name of it. Sorry, guys. It's receiving.
Acts of service?
Acts of service.
Is that it? Yeah. Like if he came in and did like he had got the groceries, he put them away and he did the dishes.
Yeah.
Was that's fills your heart with joy?
Drip worthy like that. Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Love it.
Wow.
But it was really interesting. We did it together and I kind of did it quickly first on my own. And I kind of told them, I think like my number one love language is acts of service. My second one, which I mistakenly said was my first one in the workshop, was words of affirmation. And it's just, I need to hear that you appreciate me. I need to hear like a thank you. Even though I know, like, I'm always supporting myself. I feel like I stand on my 2 feet alone. But, like, if I'm exhausted and I made dinner, I busted my ass with the kids today, I need him to just come in the door and say, like, I see you. Like, I see you hustling. Thank you. So when we did our quiz, both of us had our first as acts of service. And our last, this is not even surprising to us, was physical touch.
Okay.
Which makes a lot of sense because in our relationship, we've talked about this before, I think in the last couple conversations we have, but that's something in our relationship I feel we are very almost like immature. Yes, we're parents and it's taking up a lot of our time, but it's just sex and touching and like that physical intimacy isn't a priority for us right now.
Yeah.
And I was worried just because I tell people this out loud, like friends of mine, and I feel like there's this big social push that like, well, he's going to want that. And I'm like, well, no, I just don't think that. I check in with him. I ask him about it. And it's not like he's begging me to have sex all the time. Like, that's not a case. And I don't actually feel insecure that he doesn't want that because I don't feel like that's how we show our love and appreciation to one another. But it is when I walk in the door and he's doing the dishes or he says, he notices I'm exhausted and he's like, hey, I'm going to take the kids downstairs for a couple, like an hour. You can just chill.
Oh, that's
That-
beautiful.
My heart sings.
And
Sings.
tell us about one of the reasons why you wanted to kind of share your experience and why you started the Mom Club.
Okay. It's a big one.
Yeah.
So I think my experience, this whole idea to have a group of women come together, support each other, show each other off, and collaborate actually started probably when I was like 19 or 20. Just moving from a small town where community was so big and so prevalent and just like second nature to a city in Vancouver where I feel and have always felt people are very closed off, and it's not a bad thing necessarily. It's just an untrained aspect of living here. Everyone lives in an apartment building. You don't necessarily know your 8 other neighbors on the floor, you know, and there's no push, there's no actual need because you have everything here. That's a big thing. It's like you're not seeking out community because you actually have everything that can just, groceries can be delivered to your doorstep. You can FaceTime somebody. Like I grew up with like no Wi-Fi and there's no service in between towns. Like you can't be on your cell phone. I mean, maybe now you can, but when I grew up, there was none of that. And so you had to drive 15, 20, 40 kilometers to go see a friend. And that's like showing up. That's showing up at their doorstep saying, you mean something to me. I'm making the time to come see you. So I just never felt that community and closeness with people. I need someone to like show up, know that they have my back. And I just never really felt that living here. And so when I then became a mom, that's like amplified like crazy. Like you're already isolated because I mean, I was a young mom and I felt I was in school with a bunch of like 19, 20-year-old kids. I was 24 at the time. So I was still older than a lot of them. I'd already gone to school, but I still was like, okay, now I'm a mom. I'm totally separated. So that was like my first experience being a mom, but then also with other moms, like I felt like we couldn't really connect. And it was because there was this like excuse in the middle of my kids, you know, I can't get out of the house because of my kids, or I'm exhausted, or I'm burnt out, or I don't have the car. Like there was always this excuse. But then coming from a community where like it almost felt like there's no excuses, you're going to drive 20 kilometers just to be with you. It just, to me, felt like an excuse, even though postpartum anxiety plays a huge part of it. And that's what I know now. So anyways, removing all of that, I wanted to break down the barriers to bring women closer together, essentially. And the way that I felt comfortable doing that and ways that I got creative in meeting and connecting with my friends was online through FaceTime. Most of my meetings now I do it in FaceTime. I feel like that's how I kind of see someone's personality shine through a lot better, feel more connected. So yeah, we have an online meetup. This is Mom Club, which is the first kind of program I've launched under the Mom Collective, which is our online community where we discuss like anything from mom topics to empowering women, business techniques, and you know, just like business inspiration to be able to launch a passion project or side gig or whatever. Just get you thinking and out of the day-to-day mom cycle, which can always feel like you're on a hamster wheel and you're just a mom.
Love that.
It's a huge
cool.
ramble. I'm sorry.
No, that's you really put like that's exactly what it is, and that's what I've seen so far, because I've seen like you're doing a lot of lives, you're bringing a lot of resources to the moms, and you're bringing people together, and like I have this big passion for that as well. I would love to have something where women come together and empower each other, whether it's in business or just for connection. And as somebody who's not a mom, but who sees a lot of people becoming moms, one of the things that I've always been curious about is like the way I grew up is in a co-op, and there was 3 houses. You literally just go to someone's house and knock on the door and you're like, want to play?
That's cool.
We kind of grew up into this tiny little bubble, almost like it was a small town, but in Vancouver. And now like, you know, when your friend has a kid, you're supposed to like bring supplies and bring like shower them and be there for them. But at the same time, I do feel this like, well, they can just order it from Amazon. Like the gestures, like what if they're busy, like maybe we're not like super duper close, but I want to do something for them. It's like, how? Like I can't.
I
showing
love
up at,
that
right?
you just asked that.
Okay, because that's like biggest question that I've always wanted to ask a mom. Like, how do I show up for
good.
you? Right?
That is okay. I'm so happy you brought that up, because yes, I am right now very active in supporting and bringing together moms, but a big passion of mine, and I learned this being a young mom with a lot of friends who didn't have kids, is educating women, like maybe baby curious women or women who don't even want to have kids, but your friend circle, other women and men, about how they can show up for moms, because there is a huge lack of education, not just in the mom community, but it starts with women before they have kids. We think of anything about having kids that it could have been just from what you heard, what you have perceived, but like you're gonna fall in love with your baby the second you hold it in your arms. Like, not true for everybody. You know, like there's so many little things that only until you go through you can understand. And even take it back a step, like, I don't know if I want to have kids. Think of that statement that a lot of women have. Well, yeah, you don't know because you don't even know what you're getting into. And the little things that you do know you're getting into, why would you say yes to that? Why would you say yes to handing out giving away your free time? Why would you say yes to ripping your vagina open? Seriously, that's just stupid. Like, if you were to look at this logically and say, okay, do you want to give up all the free time you have right now? Yes or no?
No.
Like, logical yes or no question would always be no. Like, so you can't even look at it from a logical standpoint, but there is a way to, I think, open up these conversations, and it starts with our mom community, because even though you're feeling that way, you don't know how to support, other moms don't know how to support other moms. In my experience, like, you know that mom isn't reaching out to you. She's tired, she's exhausted, she's burnt out. You haven't heard from her in weeks, and you could think, oh, she doesn't want to talk to me, but you could also think, she's so overwhelmed, she can't reach out to me right now. So I know as a mom, like, I need to just go there and reach out to her. I need to go just call her. I don't need to make a plan and try and like make it perfect. She's going to decline or we're going to cancel on each other. You just got to do it, because you know for yourself, when you're fucking covered in shit, your shirt's soaked in breast milk, you haven't had a warm cup of coffee in like 2 weeks, you haven't showered in 3 days, like you're not really thinking of picking up the phone and asking a friend to come over and see you in this disgusting state. Right?
Because you want them to come over when your house is perfect.
Yeah, and when is that going to happen?
And when you just had sex with your husband, and like the whole house is clean.
And your kids are dressed in cute clothes.
The cutest outfits.
You have lunch. Like, that's not going to happen ever.
Right.
So I'm really driven by education. I feel that judgment is the outcome of a lack of education, which I think goes on any subject or anything we see. But especially in the mom community, my own experience judging other moms comes from a lack of where their story comes from. You can think of whatever you want about any other woman, any other mom, but until you know their story, you do not have the right to make a judgment. Like, you can talk about perceptions and how you feel, whatever, but you know, it's unfair to talk about judgment. So I guess relating it back to your story, like support, or your question, support and how you could support moms. I'm really passionate on educating people who aren't moms about that. And I was just thinking of a couple ways, like simple things that friends and family could do that would be monumental for a new mom, especially not even just like the first couple weeks, because that's when we usually like emphasize helping the mom, but like 1 year in, or when she's like pregnant with her second kid, which is a shit show, by the way, like right before your kid arrives, your second kid, and you have a toddler running around, it's hell. It's so hard. You're fat. You can't bend over to do their shoes. Like, it's so hard. I just literally saw a post today, which is why it's reminding me of this, but a lady, you see a mom in a coffee shop. She has like a toddler, a baby. She's breastfeeding. She has her coffee, and she like, maybe her baby on the boob is quiet for a second, her toddler's eating for a second. You can see her eyeing up that croissant. She can't reach the croissant. And so one thing like Danny has done for me for the last 2 years, he cuts up all my food into little pieces so that I can everything's one hand. So I want to be able to eat my croissant, but I can't like, or like whatever you're eating, scrambled eggs, you need it to be cut up for you. So I saw the story today. This old lady noticed a mom breastfeeding her baby in a coffee shop. And the mom's first thought when this old lady came up to her was like, oh my God, she's going to comment on the fact that my boob's out in public, you know, insecure, worried about it. The old lady said, well, you can't be wasting your warm food on kids, can you? And she started cutting it up for her. And the mom said, like, in this post, she said she like almost cried because like that is a small act of service that means so much to a mom.
What about, okay, so I have two scenarios, like one friend who I absolutely adore, but I haven't seen her probably for over a year because she has 3 babies.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So that's one scenario.
Yeah.
The other scenario is Carrie from Parlor, remember?
Yeah.
She's about to give birth.
Oh
She
my
might have already.
That's so
She's
exciting.
due any day.
Congratulations, Carrie.
Yeah. So hopefully, like, what would be your advice for a mom who's just about to give birth, as far as like my ability to show up or support, versus like a mom who has 3 babies?
2 totally different people. I'm trying to think of like the most valuable thing.
Oh, you know what? How about we make it even more simple?
Like,
what about for you?
For me?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
You know, like there's...
Wait, okay, the 3 babies, I'm really in that right now. Not that I have a third, but you're just in chaos. You're knee deep in shit all the time. So one thing, because I started this business, I'm like even more limited on time. I'm really yearning to find my identity again and connect with friends that I've kind of neglected over the last 2 years. But it just really doesn't work for me to come to Yale Town to come walk around the seawall like I used to make time to do. Come see you guys or come see whoever.
Right.
You just say you're going to come for coffee. Like, put the coffee on, I'll come over. That's it. That's all it is. And it can be like morning of. You know that on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I have the kids at home.
Yeah.
Now, not all moms would be cool with that. My house is a fucking disaster.
Right.
And every person I'm friends with knows that. And I am okay with that. Some people really, you know, they want their bathroom to be clean. You kind of just got to drop those things to make it work to have a friend over. But just showing up unannounced is fine for me. Texting me, don't call me. I'm probably not going to call you back. Text me so like at 2 a.m. when I'm breastfeeding my baby, I can text you back. Put a scheduled date in advance. Ask what day works for me to hang out and schedule it 2 or 3 weeks in advance. And it's something I can look forward to. And I can plan it with my husband to take care of the kids that day. Invite me, even though you haven't seen your friend in a couple of years, like invite her out to something cool that she wants to still do so that you think of her as not just a mom, she's still your friend. Right. So like go to some cool ass like a concert, and without even, you know, she's probably gonna be like, I don't know what to wear, I haven't been out drinking in a while, whatever. Like, oh, whatever, it's gonna be sweet. Like, just constantly like encourage her, like, no, whatever, so and so's coming, or invite another mom friend you think would want to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
Or coffee shop. When you choose a coffee shop that like has space so she can bring her stroller. So it's not like this like fancy $10 croissant bullshit white counter with like glass vases everywhere. Like your kids can kind of run around. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean, one thing when we started working with you in the mom club, the thing that, because again, me and Rosa are not moms, but the thing that stood out to me the most is that moms have no time. Right. And so like we wanted to say to the moms, like in our workshop, like work on yourself, do all these nice things for yourself. Moms are doing everything and they have not a second. Like you're talking about answering text messages at 2 a.m. while you're breastfeeding.
Yeah. That's what you make time. Like you're breastfeeding your child while you're going to the bathroom and wiping your toddler's ass at the same time, guys. Like you multitask crazy shit to make time for other crazy shit.
Yeah. So this time thing, like time is a gift, I feel like, for moms. And I wish that if I had the power, like I wish I could give a little bit of time to so that moms could have more time to themselves. And it's like, I'm curious, like, do you as a mom think about like even like think about taking time to yourself, or you know what I mean? Or is that just like so the last thing that you're thinking about ever?
This year, I made myself a priority. It was actually a big, every single day had to tell myself, what am I doing to fill my cup first? But that took a lot of conscious awareness, intention, and consistency. And sometimes I had to push through because it feels like you're going against the grain, or you're like swimming uphill because you have no time, and everyone else has a million needs. And so you feel really selfish. You feel mom guilt if you do anything for yourself first. But I realized the repercussions of not putting myself first this year, and that was burnout. I got really low and depressed, which I only now know is some signs of postpartum depression. But a lot of it, I feel like if I had just managed my schedule and prioritized my time a little bit more, this is really only coming from a place of like, I did feel really low. I felt like I was in chaos a lot of the time. I was knee deep in kid shit. There's no way I can think to wash my face tonight before bed. But once I started putting it in the calendar and like deciding that every single night before bed, I'm now going to wash my face, like do a little skin routine, because that was like my 5 minutes to myself. And then I built on that. I finally now am in a place where I have a good time to myself that I made myself carve out. But when you're in the chaos cycle and you're there and you have your kids and even if you're working, I was a working mom before I had my second, and you have no time, you need to make it a priority. You need to check yourself, because as much as I know there's no time, I want to say it is an excuse. This is like kind of delicate to say, I guess, out loud, but you need to give a shit about yourself. That's the number one thing that's going to save you as a mom. You need to give a shit about yourself. And it's something as women we don't do enough before having kids, that it gets fucking loaded on as a mom. And so if you're not used to giving a shit about yourself before the kids, you're learning from base like ground zero on how to like build that self-care routine, on how to ask for help. And like, you also have to drop a lot of expectations. Like, you know, these notions, like you think maybe being a mom means having a clean house, having your kids in perfect clothes, whatever you think about having a mom, that's whatever expectations society has put on moms. Like, you need to figure out what you care about, what you can accomplish. Like, my house is a mess. I've dropped that. I do not care because I can't get to it, and it's not a priority for me. But because my house is a mess, I'm able to come and sit and do this podcast with you today.
Yeah.
I'm able to take my kids to the park and they can enjoy the sunshine. I'm able to do a 5-minute skincare routine at night and 5 minutes in the morning.
So,
you know?
One other thing you could do for a mom is you could pay someone to have her house cleaned.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
You could pay
that
a
would
service.
be a nice...
You could send a service to clean her house for a month.
That would be
right?
amazing.
Yeah,
I think another thing in this lack of decision making. So I talked a little bit about this a couple of weeks ago on like my Instagram stories about decision fatigue. So as busy people, decision fatigue takes up a whole bunch of space in our brains. But this whole mom brain thing, which is literally exhaustion and mostly decision fatigue, because we're making millions of decisions a day for a kid. Actually, 35,000 decisions, 3,500 decisions before you go to bed every single day.
It's 1,000.
I
I was like, yep, that sounds about right.
No, it might be. Now I forgot.
You're making thousands of decisions for yourself as a busy person, and then on top of that, as a mom, you're making those decisions for your kids as well, because you're trying to keep them alive.
Yeah.
So it's very tiring.
So that's why you can understand, like, meeting, what coffee shop, what time, what do I bring? All those things are barriers to meeting up with me when we're talking about like a face-to-face interaction. Cleaning service, do it. Talk to the husband, ask what day is a good day, and like send it their way. Another thing, like just being at home with a new mom, especially, like, she wants to shower. She just wants to have 5 minutes to herself. She's not going to ask for that. We're not going to ask for that. That is embarrassing to ask, like, I haven't showered in 3 days. Are you okay taking the baby? You know, hey, I'm going to come over and I just want to hold your baby so you can shower and make yourself a nice meal and put coffee on for us so we can chat. Right. And then if you kind of include yourself and she's doing something for you, it kind of warms up the let me help you.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You know, it really occurred to me while you were talking that you didn't really start putting yourself first until it was like the last possible option, right? You're like, I was so depressed
Yeah.
that I had to start putting myself first.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not exactly what you
No,
said, but
it's
it's kind
true.
of what I
Yeah.
heard is that
Wasn't until burnout.
it wasn't until the very, like, you were hanging on by a thread that you're like, oh, maybe I should wash my face, you know? And I think that is such an important thing for everyone to remember about the mom experience, is that it is such a selfless act and it's such a chaotic situation that it doesn't even occur until it's the last attempt at, like, creating some kind of normalcy or some kind of, like, what's the word, like some kind of routine or organization.
Consistency.
Oh, maybe I should, and because I think it is for many people very counterintuitive. But how do you feel now, because you said you've had this as a practice for a little while and you've been very intentional? Do you feel like you're a better mom?
100%.
Can you say that?
100%. I feel like I'm such a better mom because I can tolerate my kids with a smile on my face. Not all the time. I'm still like, a lot of the time I'm really burnt out. Like 2 days ago, for example, I was at 5 o'clock. I know within 5 to 5:30, Danny will come home and kind of relieve me of childcare. As soon as 5 o'clock hits on the clock, I'm looking at every single second. Like, just when the fuck is he gonna get here? Because, like, you're at a burnout right there. Like you know,
It's
the
the same
last
as being,
9
like,
hours
on the treadmill,
Yeah,
and you're
last
like, one more
9
minute.
hours, it's been like a teething baby, demanding all of your attention, screaming all day. You know that you're almost at the end of that finish, like you're at that finish line. And so, as soon as he comes home, knowing that I get this break, like, it just kind of lets me take a breath in, and, like, I can power through this. He walks in the door. This is something we've worked out in advance, but, like, he walks in the door and, like, he takes the kids, and I can cook dinner for everybody, but by myself, without a child gnawing on my leg or whatever he's trying to do, right?
Yeah.
He took them out of the house so I can now make the meal that I want to make for my family. Because all I want to do is help my family and do these things, but you can't do it half full. You can't do it when your brain is somewhere else, when you feel like crying, when you want to, like, push your kid away from you because you just don't want to be touched anymore. You can't do anything. So
I think this is, like, I like hearing about all of this stuff because
Because why?
Because I think I want people to listen to this and, like, have men. I want men to listen to this too and have more empathy for the female mom experience. Because we haven't mentioned dads once yet, maybe a couple times, and just, like, the partners and, like, how they fit into this. And, like, I just want, moms are doing so much out here, right? They're on their last thread, and we're still asking them to do more. You know what I mean? And I just want, like, and I talk to a lot of dads, and I don't think the dads are having little podcasts
we're
talking
gonna
about
dad
how
collective
hard they're working and how they're on their last thread. They're depressed. They're not. They have a kid on them all the time. And
but so, they're uninvolved, and it's not always their fault, right? Like, I'm hugely passionate for stepping the fuck up in a relationship. Like, your partner needs to. Yes, the mom's overwhelmed. Sometimes she can't, she's at the point she can't even ask for help. You know, she's just so exhausted and talking and making a decision and asking for help. That fear of, like, rejection or being fought from a partner about what you need, it's sometimes not even worth asking.
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
It's exhausting.
Yeah.
So you, as a mom, this is something for before having a baby, which I am so trying to, like, hone out how we can do this a lot better. Instead of putting calories into buying the perfect crib, matching the blanket to the crib and the wall decals, which is all important, and they are important prep work for you mentally and to involve your husband. That's all great. But put some calories into what are the next 6 months going to look like? What do I need from you? And if you don't know what that's going to look like, you don't know what, like, sitting on a couch with your tits, like, triple the size, milk streaming down your body, haven't showered in 2 days feels like, because you probably don't if you're not a mom. Put that in your image in your head and then think, when I'm at my lowest state, what do I need from my partner? And what that looked like for me, which I didn't necessarily have to ask. Thankfully, like, my partner is very intuitive and we work really well together. But what that meant for him as a partner is those delicate couple weeks after having my first child, I'm sitting on the couch learning how to breastfeed. My water cup was never less than half full because you need to chug water the entire time. So that act of service, water cup beside the table,
okay.
every single time.
And I would never have thought of that.
No, but
No.
wait, I wouldn't have asked for that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I would have just stayed quiet and like in my head, I'm like, okay, I really need a glass of water, but I wouldn't have asked him for that because it's like he's already done so, you know.
Yeah.
And that's just another barrier. Asking for help is really hard for anybody. So, as a dad of a new baby, like always, her water glass needs to be full. Okay, breakfast doesn't happen. Like you don't really get breakfast. So make sure she has a plate. Like you're going out the door to work. If you have to go to work right away, like make sure there's like some protein on her plate and there's something healthy and there's maybe like a croissant, something that she wants to eat that she can just like nibble on, but nothing complicated that she has to make herself. That means if you didn't set that up for her, that means that you are okay with her not eating that morning. She's not going to eat that morning until she's a second when the baby goes down, which might not be till 12:31.
Yeah.
So anything that you're not doing is you saying you're okay with your wife not getting food or not getting a shower or not, like, it's crazy.
That's very extreme.
It's extreme, but like I want people to,
But I really like that.
Think of it in an extreme, like acts of service. This, I guess, is why it's my love language, but like not acts of service says something too. Like not doing something says a lot more.
Yeah.
And
you
I think also too, the thing about love languages that's really important to remember is that when you're giving a love language to your partner, it might not be the love language that you're like intuitively give. Right.
Totally.
Like you might not be an acts of service person and it's like not the way that you like to give, but you might have to do that.
Yeah.
You might have to compromise in your relationship and say, this is what my partner needs. We're in this stage in our life where she needs these acts of service to keep my freaking child alive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I have to
Little
adjust
motivator.
my behavior.
Yeah.
But the thing that, and we talked a little bit about this in the workshop too, is like when it comes to intimacy, that is like stage level 10, right? You're not even at the stage where you want to have intimacy. But there are men out there who are
demanding sex,
that
like
are
right after a fucking bowling ball came out of my vagina.
That's right. Or they're
Weird.
saying, I'm not getting, I'm
so
having
weird.
sex, or I'm feeling like my relationship has gone asexual. It might not even be the first year. It could be years. But still, the women are working so hard and you want her to give you a blowjob. Like, this is what listening to you speak and then even just thinking that a man would be even thinking about
makes
coming
me
home.
It makes
like,
me angry.
What are we doing tonight? She's like, what are you doing with the kids tonight?
Yeah. No, okay. I'm coming from a place where this was never demanded of me. And I am 1,000% grateful. I talk to a lot of women. This is not the case, right? A lot of moms, it's not the case. Like there's expectations in the relationship where they are being intimate with each other multiple times a week. And that doesn't change after having a baby. But like, that's not good enough. If that's depleting you and you can't, and you want to give that to your husband, you want to make that dinner when you're burnt out, but it's not realistic to demand that when you're half full of yourself, let alone someone else asking that.
Yeah.
One thing I just wanted to say before I forget, like these love languages, I think I asked you in the workshop, but they do change depending on your circumstance. So I think before I would have been mostly words of affirmation. That's why I said it. But now it's so much acts of service because you kind of need to buckle down, like show me the money or like, talk is cheap. Like those things come to mind when you have a baby. Like, I don't care if you wanted to come see me. I don't care if you appreciate everything I do. Fucking show me. Open the fucking door. Come in when you say, and like give me a hug and tell me you love me. And then tell me, babe, I'm going to take the kids for an hour so you can X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
That's what I need right now. I need you to show up. Like no words. And sometimes it's a lack of intimacy between us as partners, or like we don't check in on things, but we're so dialed in this. He's so dialed into what I need and this acts of service he can give me that I just like, we just move on to the next thing and I feel full from it without even having to communicate. I think that's I'm just grateful that we're at that place, right?
Yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons why we brought up love languages in the workshop, is because in order to give, you need to feel valued. And the way that you feel valued is receiving the love that you need in the way that you need it. And so that's a really great place to start, because ultimately we know that people get together, they fall in love, they have lots of sex, it gets very exciting, and then if you choose to have kids, that is going to completely change. So feeling valued, feeling like you're getting the love language that you really want to receive was, for Rhea and I, the step we wanted to encourage the moms to take, to start thinking, how do I want to receive love, and am I? And having that conversation with their partner.
And also knowing that you deserve it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
You
exploring
have to,
that.
You have to, and that's why the value, we're so hung up on this value thing. Because, like, you as a mom need to know that you are the most important person in the picture, in the story. And so everything is you. Right? And you have to, like, and when you're talking about asking for help, like, that's a woman thing, right? I, as a single person with no kids, have a hard time asking anybody for help, especially men. And so in order to ask for help, you have to know in yourself that you deserve it. You know what I mean? And we all need to work on that as women. In my perfect fantasy universe, men would be mind readers, and they would just know that they need to come home and say, let me take the kids for 2 hours so you can have some time to yourself. And you don't have to even speak to them about it. They just know it. But I think these conversations are really important, and but it really starts at knowing your own value first, and then knowing that you deserve the love in the way that you want to receive it. There's no, like, compromising here, right? And then, a lot of times people will say, I can't do that. And then you have to cross that bridge when you get there.
Oh, like the person that you ask, they're like, no.
Oh, if they can't, like, help you out.
Change, or they say,
that's an important thing that I'm curious about. Like, in our relationship, I get certain things from my partner. I don't feel that one person can give you everything that you need. I don't get very intimate conversations with my partner, and I have that with a lot of my girlfriends, and that fills my cup. Is that something I want with my partner? Yes. But that's something we're working towards. But I got it elsewhere, and I get it elsewhere, and that's okay. Being able to fill my cup and ask for help elsewhere. Now, I'm not saying, like, if you needed to have sex and your partner was having sex with you, go and sleep with someone else. But I mean, that's kind of what leads people to cheat. They're not getting something from someone that they need. Big problem. Sometimes it's really easy just to ask for it. And I'm going to tell you a story about asking for help. My baby was 3 days old, and I had been up all night breastfeeding. This is my second baby. And Danny, my partner, was in a meeting on his laptop. He stayed home. He was home for the first 4 months with me because he got pat leave, but he was in kind of a meeting that, like, kept him in the loop. And I had the baby in one arm. He's tiny enough so I can hold him with one hand. And then I needed to open this jar that I was making breakfast. So I was trying to open, like, a jar of jam or something. And so I'm trying to twist the jar, and, like, I was super swollen while I was pregnant. So, like, my joints and muscles, like, just weren't working. So, like, trying to open a jar was extremely difficult in that moment. I tried again, and then I, like, put it underneath the sink to try and heat it up. And then I twisted it, and then I literally dropped my baby on the ground. And I know it's, like, sounds crazy, and it's gonna sound psycho because, like, you guys don't have kids, but I think it's probably normal to accidentally, your baby rolls off couches sometimes, and it's, like, really scary. But I dropped my baby on the ground, and as a mom, that's your biggest fear, especially, like, in the first few months when you don't want anything to happen to your baby. That all resulted, like, I felt horrible. I was in tears immediately. Like, Danny rushed to grab the baby, and, like, we just, like, stopped in our tracks. That is why I asked for help, because I couldn't open a fucking jar. I couldn't do it. I was exhausted. I was holding my baby, and I could have just asked him to fucking open the jar.
Yeah.
So I know that's, like, extreme, but it's, like,
no,
one
I
of
think
those
it's
things
a
that
really good example, because
right,
that is,
and then, like,
there's always going to be something that makes you realize, okay, yeah, maybe I should, and that is extreme.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that he's okay.
Oh god. Well, they're really, like, noodly at the beginning, but, like, don't drop your baby.
You threw him off a bridge, apparently.
Oh my god.
Remember that?
Oh yeah. I was so scared. Like, I felt, and that's, like, that triggers mom guilt, and, like, I'm a bad mom. Oh my god. And you shouldn't beat yourself up that you're a bad mom, but, like, you can't be the best you if you don't ask for help. Like, you can be all that you want to be, but you need help, and that's okay to ask for it.
Yeah, and I think you also brought up a really great point about like your partner can't give you everything. That's just facts, right? And so you have to be a little bit realistic too. Obviously, you want to have standards of what you expect in a relationship, but that's what I also love about the Mom Club is that, you know, sometimes you rely, like, people want stuff that they can get from friends and community from their partner. So if your cup is being filled by feeling a sense of community and you're in support from your community, sometimes rather than going to your partner and saying, I need you to support me more, you can go somewhere else. You can find your niche, your group of people, your community, and online, right? It doesn't have to even be in person, where you connect in that way, and then you fulfill yourself elsewhere. Yeah. And then you come back to the relationship.
It kind of removes the disappointment when your expectations aren't met. That's something you can control. Like, I'll always go in between like my own thoughts of like what I can control, what I can't control. And a big thing with filling your cup is like there's a lot of stuff that you can't control, but there's a lot of stuff that you can. And one thing you can control is how you communicate to someone, and then how you set your expectations of someone. So like, I already know I can't expect my partner to go to work full time and then take the kids and then be my lover and then be able to connect with me on a deep emotional level by talking, because that's not the type of person he is. You know, like he does so much for me. It's not realistic to expect him to do everything. Same with your friends. I have a lot of mom friends that like I wasn't getting the connection I needed, so that I started connecting with people online. I built this mom club where I feel like we can come together online. It's not saying that I don't have friends who support me. They do, but it's not realistic to expect my other mom friend with 4 kids who lives in a completely different area in the city to come see me, which is what I need right now. So I can get that connection from someone else.
And then also on that note too, like men, when you're thinking about like, oh, my love language is physical touch, well, your partner may not be set up to provide that at a time when she's giving so much being a mom. You don't need, like in any relationship, you don't always need to, when you feel like you want to have that pressure built up or you want to come, you don't have to have sex. You can have sex with yourself. That's like, you can do that as a solo activity, right? Where no one else is involved. So I think people should take that opportunity and have a little bit more awareness when it comes to these situations.
But like even little things, so that's a delicate one. I feel like if I caught my husband like masturbating and watching porn and we're not having sex right after having a baby, that might make me feel super insecure.
Really?
Yeah. But I also have like weird little hang-ups on things. But like it would just make me feel, because I'm feeling insecure about my body. Right? And so I think what you could do to help stimulate the interest to giving you a blowjob, if that's your end result, like go take your wife shopping so she can get some clothes that fit her. Because the next year is the most mind fuck when it comes to a closet. Your body is changing, it's going down, or it's getting bigger, or it's fluctuating in weight, and like none of your clothes that you really loved fit you. So go and treat your wife to some nice, like good fitting clothes where she gets to feel sexy in them. Or like sign her up for, I talk about this dance class I did, but like sign her up for something where she can like feel good doing it in like a comfortable setting, maybe with other moms or other girlfriends where like she doesn't feel insecure, where she can like start loving her body again. Compliment her.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, one thing, like even to make it more basic than that is, and this is like, I hear this all the time from guys, honestly, in my own experience, and I hear stories from Rhea, and I hear it talking to men, is that I will say, this is what I want as a present. I'll be like, I want a size 6 dress from Aritzia, and I want it in blue. Here's the SKU. And they'll be like, yeah, so she said she wanted like some clothes from Aritzia, so like I'm taking her to the movies.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Or like literally, a woman really will tell you what she wants. Like when it comes to like gifts and stuff, like, or say you went to your wife and you're like, I know that like I'm kind of in the position where I'm like feeling frisky again, and you just had your baby, like I just listened to this podcast that said something about like this pelvic floor physiotherapy. Like, would it make you feel like really valued if I made those appointments for you? She might be like, no, I already made those appointments. I want you to take me to the mall. Like, right?
Yeah.
So then take her to the mall.
Take her to the fucking mall. Yeah.
So I think that gestures for us that make us feel valued as women then give us the ability to open our bodies up to men to experience intimacy and sexuality and eroticism. Had to throw that word in. And that's kind of like the basics. You feel valued, you ask for what you want, you get it. You can start maybe thinking about then giving to the other person. But you really have to feel like you're overflowing with energy, with value, with like happiness, with inspiration to even, right? All of that with energy. Like everyone's tired, not just moms, but moms is like on a whole nother level. So those steps are so important. And for me, especially if it's like, say I was a mom and everything is like, you barely have time to have a conversation. If I say to you, I want this thing, and then you go and get it for me, that's awesome. But if I say to you, I want this thing, and you go get me something else, I'm
probably not
awesome.
going to ask you for that thing again.
Right,
Or,
yeah.
you know.
And that's just like, it's just a waste of time. So guys, whoever you are, if you have like a baby daddy or not, like just like if you hear a woman say that she wants something and then you go get her something different, you're not listening.
Yeah, and
it's an epidemic.
Yeah, it is an epidemic. And I think I don't know if we've mentioned this before, but like if you're in that position and you're like, God, I really want to have sex at some point again in my relationship. If you're a man and you're thinking, how am I going to do this?
Flowers.
It doesn't just happen overnight.
It won't
you
happen.
have to become an investigator. So it's not like even saying, oh, I'm feeling, that might be nice to express that. I'm feeling like I might want to have sex on the road. You need to become an expert in your wife again, your partner, your lover.
Right. Because when you first met, you're probably an expert. You're like, ooh, yeah, this makes her really frisky.
Yeah, right. You have to say,
but you're probably leading with a little bit more curiosity when you first met. You're wanting to find that out. So you're asking, how are you feeling? If I don't even know. I feel like maybe he didn't ask me that. He just kind of figured it out somehow. But
yeah, but he was being a detective.
He's being a detective. But like in the burnout stage when I'm like, I just want to have a fucking shower. Like a fucking shower means I just want a second to like get myself back to normal. That could, if you want to, I'm a salesperson through and through. And with clients, you want to under-promise and over-deliver. So give her the time. Give her the time for the shower. And then say, you know what? I just booked you an appointment at the nail salon and I'm taking the kid for the next hour.
Wow.
And removing the decision.
I would
right?
cry.
You don't ask her what day she wants to go. Like, remove the decision from her. Just do it. That is dick suck worthy. Just that.
Right.
Right? And it wasn't crazy hard for you to do. You just fucking picked up the phone or you texted it in or whatever you have to do to book that appointment. Book the appointment. You know that you're complaining you don't get to see your friends anymore. Like, contact the friend. Like, you probably have their contact information. Facebook. Like, figure out that friend's schedule. Book those 2 hours so that your wife can go and have lunch in Yaletown on the water like she used to do with her friend.
Oh, that's nice.
That's all. That's all. And then she's going to come back and be like, babe, yeah, that's exactly what I needed.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think, don't forget, like, our main goal, especially when we started thinking about moms and working with Kat and the Mom Club, was like, women really need to get back to their bodies as a woman, right? Like, you're a mom, and you have never really been sexual as a mom because this is your first time. So getting back to your body and learning about what you like all is brand new again. So the first thing that we would say is, it's awesome if your partner is being super romantic and you're getting these things. You've had the discussion about value and love languages, but you still don't feel sexual with them. I would ask them to take your kid for an hour and then try and get back to your body in like a sexual way, right? Take a bath, masturbate. And of course, I've been in relationships where I didn't really understand porn and didn't really understand like men's like need to like really let off steam. And I would have been weirded out if I had like happened upon my partner like masturbating. I totally get that. But now just like understanding a little bit more, I would feel like I would be happy.
Yeah, I know.
I would be like, thank God, you're really taking it like the pressure off me.
Yeah, totally.
And it's kind of the same thing, like getting back to your body and having that maybe a little toy around just in case you feel horny for 5 minutes and you have that 5 minutes of your time. And then maybe whether it takes a week, a year, whatever it is, then you can start reconnecting together. But having the resource of being able to get back to your body while your partner takes care of the kids is maybe a little bit more accessible than having to like get a babysitter and like have all these acts of romance and then have your alone time and all this pressure. And, it might, maybe with a step before that is getting back to your own body and masturbating.
Yeah.
This is what I'm really trying to say here.
Yeah, totally. And I think that I have friends who are moms too, and that are just say, like, they don't feel sexual. And they probably don't even feel like masturbating. And that's totally fine. Like, you might, like, I know women that don't have kids. Like Rosa.
I'm not very sexual. But I figured out why. It's because for me, I need to have an intimate connection with somebody that I'm attracted to, like on their personality, and then I develop a physical attraction. So if I don't have a crush on anyone and I'm not connecting with anyone, I just don't feel sexual.
Yeah.
At all. So that's totally fine. So maybe other people can relate to that too. And they're realizing, oh, I have a partner, but I'm just like, we are not connecting that way. We're not having those long talks we used to have, or I'm not getting those flowers I used to have. He's not investigating what I want the way he used to, whatever it may be. He's not chasing me. He's not trying to get me into bed the way he used to, or whatever it is.
And that's something that's very much real when you become a mom and like you get into this parenting hamster wheel where, if we were still dating, you wouldn't have done that. You would have tried harder, or you would have asked me what I cared about. You would have made time for me instead of taking another meeting on for the rest of the day. Like, you would have canceled that meeting, drove home, and took me for dinner before the kids got home, or whatever. You know what I mean? It's that in relationships, I think, just being stagnant and trying to keep things fresh, right? And trying to continue that curiosity and investigation of what your partner needs and asking for it. Okay, another example, Valentine's Day. So my partner doesn't do gifts. He used to maybe do gifts, and maybe he doesn't think I like them, whatever. It's not communicated that I fucking love getting flowers, apparently.
Everyone does. Who doesn't?
I used to not like flowers,
okay,
but now I love flowers. And like, it just tells me that you, despite all the shit that I need right now, you took the time to put some flowers on my table because my house is a mess and it makes me feel good. On Valentine's Day, I messaged him and I said, Danny, the flower shop across the street, which is one of the nicest flower shops in like West Vancouver, I'm not going to lie. It has a budding selection of flowers, and it's Valentine's Day, and I really want a bouquet of flowers from you. Can you go get them, or just make sure that there's a bouquet on the table when I get home? And it was like asking for something for myself. But I got home, there were no flowers on the table, and my heart was like crushed. But I was pissed mostly because I had asked him, instead of just expecting it out of nowhere, I had asked him. And then around the corner, Hastings, my oldest son, came out with 2 bouquets of flowers that his dad had picked out. And I was like, I almost had tears in my eyes.
That's so
and like,
nice.
But that, it meant so much to me, and I had asked for it. So I felt like, oh, maybe I shouldn't care about it, but asking for it. Right? That's like laying it out.
Well, I was horrified inside because I thought this story was going to take a turn for the worse.
And we were like, divorce.
That was a bad lead. That was a bad leading.
I was like, this is an example of what Rosa was just talking about. Someone asking exactly, like
that was specific. Asking for it.
More specific.
Right? I need a bouquet of flowers. It's Valentine's Day. Get them, like, I don't give a fuck how busy you are today, but make that happen.
And
he did it. I know, sorry. I should have cut that crappy part out.
No, there's no crappy part.
Just make the shining armor part at the end.
You buried the lead, as they say.
I like to scare people. Sometimes my stories, they're like, I want to keep everyone confused and then
I thought, oh my God, we're going to tell her to get a divorce now.
We're like, you're not leaving until you call him and you tell him it's over.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, it's just you have to. I think that's like a really good place to get to. I mean, and I'm like I'm getting kind of older, and like I'm just getting there now where I'm able to ask for very specific things. And I think it's a practice.
It is it was uncomfortable doing that.
You have to practice because you don't know if they're going to say no. You don't really believe that you deserve it. There's like all these different layers, right? But I think that you just have to keep asking.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
I think last thing I was just going to say about that is like, there's society expectation. Like I felt uncomfortable asking him to get me flowers because there's an expectation that your man will get you flowers on Valentine's Day. And I feel like from my friends, like I would feel uncomfortable telling my friends that my husband doesn't get me flowers, or that my husband isn't doing X, Y, and Z, or that we're not sleeping together 3 times a week. You know, I feel uncomfortable because those are societal expectations of what like the perfect partnership looks like. Same thing goes with being a mom. Like sometimes you don't connect and tell moms about your problems because
You want to seem really
you want to seem like
perfect.
you got your shit together.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, you've got it all figured out, which is just bullshit. Everyone's learning as they go. And like, it's okay to show your colors and show that you don't have it all together, because that's where you're going to actually connect with another mom who might be going through a similar situation.
Yeah, well, that's why we love the Mom Club. And one of the best things that Kat said on the workshop was it was an amazing a mom confession, which I think that is you should take that and run with it.
Oh yeah, I
right?
love this.
Because it's the hottest tip, and I want to tell all the moms this. So she started she wanted to get fit. She's already really fit. She wanted to continue that. Like, she's ready to go back to the gym. She gets to the gym. They have daycare. Awesome. Kids are in daycare. She says she just sits in the change room on her phone. That was her workout. And
Dirty confession.
That is, honestly, that opened up all my eyes. I'm like, there's hope for moms. Because being able to admit that is such a hot tip. That is what all moms should be doing.
Yeah, I'm
taking
seeking
that advantage of that free, or it's not free, it's like built into the what you pay, of course, to go to the gym, but taking advantage of that, a little bit of childcare, and just doing something for you. You got out of the house, you did that, and then you go home. Like, you don't need to get on the treadmill. You don't need to work out. And then maybe the next time you go for 5 minutes on the
another
Stairmaster.
societal expectation.
Yes.
I mean, I do now go to the gym and actually crush a good workout. But for the first 6 months, like, I would go and listen to a podcast and lie on my back and do like half of the stretches that I was intending to do, and just lie there. Because you know what? You know how everyone's saying, like, get away from the gram, like, stop scrolling. Moms fucking crave having 5 minutes, no interruptions, just to scroll once in a while. And like, fill your 5 minutes with whatever you want to do, but don't force yourself to do like a 40-minute workout and that's busting your ass, because that's not taking a break. And if your cup is so depleted that you first just need a rest or you just need a shower, just admit that to yourself.
Oh yeah, because they also have showers at the gym.
Yep.
That my gym has a sauna and a daycare.
I
Can you
responded to
imagine?
text messages to friends that I haven't like responded to in like a week.
Yeah.
Right? Just like basic stuff. That's fine. And like, yeah, figure out a way to get your kids away from you, because you kind of feel like you need to always take care of them, which is true, but like, you also need a break more. And so whether that be your partner, or you have another mom friend you can do a child swap with, or if you're lucky enough to have family, like, don't be afraid to ask once and lock it in your schedule. Once a week you take the kids, because then you can plan ahead that workout, or that like downtime, or that coffee with yourself, whatever. Nap.
And the reason why it's so important to like admit these things and share is because once you are able to fill your cup and you know exactly what you need to like be your best self, then you can give more.
Yeah.
Whether it is because your goal is to give more with your partner and have that sexual relationship that you've been wanting, or whether the goal is just to start a business, become an entrepreneur, or to give back to your kids in a more like present way. All of that comes from having decided what your value is, what your love language that you need to receive is, getting it, filling up your cup, going like doing all the tips that you've been describing. And that's why I love Mom Club, because hopefully, I mean, of course, we're not part of any of the other workshops or discussions, but hopefully this is spurning more confessions, and like empowering people to be like, Yeah, I just
I'll
lied
let
and
you
said
guys
I was
in
busy.
on, like, we have our chat. So our mom club, just to clarify, like, it's a weekly online meetup, which with a group of 10 moms who have decided to do this all year. So every Sunday we meet up online on a Zoom call, and we also have like an ongoing chat, so where we can just stay connected throughout the week. And after this, like, it took a couple weeks to get talking about filling your cup, love languages, but there was definitely a lot of chat afterwards. I'm like, hey guys, I did this to fill my cup. And just to give you guys an example, like, one mom shared with everybody that she cut her hair, and she just like got this awesome new haircut, and she wanted to share it with everybody. And it's just that little step, like, she took the time to figure out how to have her kids watch, to go get her haircut, to feel like $1 million again, and then she shared it with all of us. And then it kind of like spiraled another thing. Another mom went and got her nails done with my nail girl, and like, just watching them do these little acts of service for themselves first lights them up, and then they can be of better service and value to other people, especially your kids. Like, your kids first, obviously, and then your partner second.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be a dick suck.
Yeah. Because you, right, Rhea, this is what Rhea said, you are the most important member of the family.
Yeah.
And that's the truth.
I love that. When you said that, my, like, everything went still. It's really, like, everyone listening to this, say that to yourself while looking in the mirror, and say it like 10 times until it clicks. Because I heard it and I was like, okay, whoa, Rhea. And then I said it again, and I'm like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you are. You're the most important person in that family,
Yeah.
because you're the one who made the family come out of the vagina or out of your body.
Yeah.
Okay?
You created the baby.
Yeah.
That body was housed by your temple, and
Yeah.
you need to treat your temple accordingly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think we're so happy to have you on this episode.
I'm so happy
And
to be here.
we're grateful that you're working to help protect moms and support moms and
Hype
support
them the
women,
fuck up, man. Moms are
you know,
cool. We've got a
and,
little
yeah,
inside.
no, and we love moms here at
You
Rosa.
guys, I feel like you guys are gonna be the best moms, because
Oh
you're
my
so.
God.
Oh my God,
You
don't say that out
are
loud.
hilarious. No, you're so smart. You guys have a great. You guys are talking about filling your cup. You fill your cups. You guys, you know what you need, and you put that first. And, like, moms aside, this is a bigger woman issue of filling your cup and knowing what you need and being okay to ask for it. It starts before you have a baby. So I don't know who your most listeners are, if it's men or women. Get on the fucking page that you need to respect each other as individuals. So if you're in a partnership, you want to respect your partner. Like, think about when you want what the goal is with your partnership. Like, if you guys want to have kids, set yourselves up for success. Treat each other with respect. Fill each other's cup. Help each other out. Because as soon as that baby comes, fucking shit show. And you need to have those habits honed out, and you need to have, like, that respect ingrained in you for yourself and with your partner, so that you don't unravel and you don't reach burnout, and you can catch a lot of this, what is a huge stem of postpartum depression. You can nip it in the butt earlier.
Love it.
Wiser words have never been spoken.
Yes.
I love that.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks
It's been
for
an
coming.
absolute
Thank
pleasure.
you for
Yeah. I think that.
And
I think that's
follow the Mom Club on
yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah,
right?
follow. We're slowly getting started. I can only do as much as I can around the mom schedule, but
So what is your Instagram?
yeah, you can follow us, TMC_Mom Club, and TMC is the Mom Collective. So we're doing all kinds of stuff for moms, but Mom Club is, I can't announce when our next opening is, but it's coming soon. So tune in so you can
Wonderful.
see when we launch our next one.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, good for you. Thank you so much for sharing all
Thank
your
you.
stories.
Thanks so much for keeping this a light, fun chat and having me here.
Yeah,
No
absolutely.
problem. And you can find our podcast on our website, rosaandrea.com. Follow us on Instagram at Rosa and Rhea.
At Rosa and Ray on Twitter
Yeah.
and Spotify,
Everywhere.
Apple.
You guys
Catch us
are
on
everywhere.
YouTube. If you're sitting here wondering if your dick is the right size, you can catch us on YouTube and we'll tell you.
I love it. Okay, goodbye.
Bye.
Oh my God.